Sit up straight, button your tie. Well, ties don't have buttons. Straighten your tie. Line up your buttons. And just relax and be you. The last episode I released was October of last year. I left you off that I moved into a new place. I got 2 new roommates. I have a garden, which at the time of this recording, my garden is filled with sweet corn, pumpkin, and bean plants. It's really cool. There's a lot of greenery. It's by far the best soil that I've been on since I've been here in Georgia. And it's been really cool to see it every day, to see the growth. I was attending the same church. Now I am actually a member of that church. My knees have been hurting. I've been rock climbing a lot. That brings me a lot of joy because before the pandemic, before COVID, I was climbing a lot. Well, not as much as I am now, but now I love climbing. And I do it a lot because I'm good at it. Learning to listen to my body more. I just turned 30 on April 17th. That was fun. I went to the Georgia Aquarium, saw all the fish, well, a lot of fish and sharks and whale sharks and seahorses and like sea dragons. It was super cool. I've just been living. Every day is a new day that God gave me, and I'm doing my best to enjoy it. This time right now really feels like an outlet. I feel like there's these waves of being filled up and then needing to release, filling up and then needing to release, filling up and needing to release, push and pull, wave after wave after wave of it. And the good Lord is with me through all of it. He's my number one motivation in the day. The last year has been good overall, but it's also been challenging and growing. And am I letting go of things in my life which are necessary, or am I just getting distracted? Are more and more things getting onto my plate, and I'm just getting more and more overwhelmed? Is that something that naturally happens as you get older, as you just get more and more overwhelmed to the point of being overwhelmed and having a full plate and not necessarily knowing how to sift through it, but you gotta sift through it. So sifting through it to find the diamonds. Because to me, this life is a walk with Jesus, walk with God. My life's purpose truly does revolve around Him. And if it didn't, I wouldn't be here. But speaking of being here, if you are just joining this podcast as a personal and therapeutic tool I call a vocal diary, it's a space for me to process my thoughts, explore stories, and post them for those who might be interested. Hopefully inspiring someone. Every now and then I do look at the analytics, and if you're listening, I appreciate you, and I thank you, and I wish I could see you and actually know you, at least know your name. That'd be really cool. Because you are a person, you are another valued, loved, treasured person who walks on this earth, who has been given life to enjoy. I'm not doing this for any type of social gain or to be a better human. I'm just doing it. It's like self-therapy. Episodes 1 and 2 talk about who I am, so give them a listen if you haven't. A quick disclosure that going on tangents may or may not be involved. This show is conversationally true to how I speak. I don't know if EDC Crate works. That's the first time in this recording I think that I've said that word. I'm going to try not to say it again. I believe the coupon code, if it still works on EDC Crate, is GQT15% to get 15% off. Here we go. To win, I think of how big the universe is. These topics somewhere got lost in translation because I went through kind of some muckiness and lost sight of some things, got distracted from a ton of different things, and it's like the lawn outside, which I wasn't bagging up all the leaves, I was just mowing them so that the remnants of the crumpled up leaves would stay on the lawn so that the lawn would like kind of compost them. And it's like the important things, the really green grass of my life is kind of covered up and trampled down in some different areas. And the important things are growing back through, like me being here, me talking. Maybe it's a recovery, just a natural mental recovery survival thing from COVID. The further and further away we get from COVID, the more I think that it actually really damaged who I am. And I'm recovering from that. And I mean, we all got damaged in some way. But for me, I think socially, whether it be COVID or my work or a mixture of the two, I just feel I've lost some, not lost, but it's just been trampled. Some personability skills, and through different things like improv and rock climbing and acting classes, which I'm currently taking, by the way. It's a lot of fun. I'm back to taking Meisner, which I love. These things are kind of helping revive those trampled areas. But the universe is really big, I think. That's what we're told anyway. I know how big this Earth is. It's really big. Well, I don't know how big it is. I know that it is fairly big beyond my comprehension, and I'm just this guy sitting here on a chair talking. Just another day of life sitting here while there's all big crazy amounts of stuff going on out in the world and the cosmos. Cosmos? Is it cosmos? 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 Cosmo? Whatever it is. It's a really big universe out there. And we're really small. We're people, but to ants we're really big. But really, like ants, we too are just composed of atoms. But. You might know where this is going. As opposed to some people who think that our thoughts and actions are just a reaction of atoms working together, I disagree with that. I believe that we have been given a consciousness, a soul, a breath of life to enjoy this world, to enjoy where we sit, to enjoy the smell of roses, to enjoy the sight of roses, to enjoy the sound and the feeling of the wind blowing through a rose bush, if it may do so, and the taste of roses, they might not taste good. Let's replace roses with ice cream, the taste of ice cream. Sure, we have physical responses to those things, but there's something unexplainable of what ice cream does to us through those individual senses. So the idea that the universe is so big, but we are so small and have the ability to hear, see, taste, smell, and touch ice cream is so great. To when I flew on 10 airplanes. So very recently, maybe 2 to 3 months ago now, I got back from a trip to Australia and New Zealand. I, yes, have friends in both those places currently. Eventually, I think they may return for good, maybe not. At least 2 of them are. They're getting married. I'm excited. I'm honored to be their friend from college. It's really cool. You know who you are. Thank you guys for being my friends. Thank you for that time I got to spend with you. The last topic I talked about how big the universe is, and I mentioned how big the world is. So I flew on 10 airplanes. The total distance I flew, unfortunately, was just short of the circumference of the Earth. The circumference of the Earth is 24,855 miles, or roughly plus or minus maybe at least one. I don't know if you knew this, and this is a recent discovery I learned, is that the Earth isn't completely, it's not a perfect sphere. The Earth is not a perfect sphere. Perfect. It is round, but like some points are really tall and other points are really low. I mean, it's cool that the ocean kind of makes a big blanket over it, but there's peaks and valleys, like in life. Waves after waves after waves. I got to fly over this blanket of water for a consistent, I think it was 10 hours, at least 9 hours. I flew from Los Angeles to Fiji, actually, and then Fiji to Sydney, which that's only 2 airplanes. You're like, what are you talking about? That's only 2 airplanes. I know. I took a trip. It was 40 days. It's weird because I think sometimes my trips are just like 40 days, and it's like 40 days and 40 nights, like in the wilderness. Was I in the wilderness? I kind of was in the wilderness, to be honest. When you think about relationships, there's a certain type of love. Ooh, I hear thunder. That's cool. So there's 4 types of love, pretty much, that are described in the Bible. Philia, eros, storge, and agape. To define these, eros is sensual or romantic love. Storge is familial love. Philia is brotherly love that unites believers. And agape love, which is inherently God's love for humankind, which is sacrificial love. And I'm learning more and more, and this is one of the pieces of grass that's growing through the trampled ground in my life, is God's love, my longing for unconditional, vulnerable love. And I'm finding it, and I'm super happy for it. And I traveled, here's the route. It was Atlanta to Seattle, to Denver, to Los Angeles, to Fiji, to Sydney, to New Zealand, to Fiji, to Los Angeles, to Phoenix, to Atlanta. And I think that was 22 or 23,000 miles. And during that time, very, very, very interestingly, I felt these 4 types of love in different ways. By the way, quickly jumping back to the last topic, I didn't say a lesson. The lesson would be that no matter how small you are worth way more than you think. It was a really interesting time to be able to travel like that, and I'm beyond grateful to have been able to do it. I saw a lot of things. I talked to a lot of people. I actually made a list of all the people that I saw on this trip. It looks like I got to see over 50 people that I knew across these places. And to me, those times are very special because I've discovered I like spending my time with people I love and spending quality time with them. So I'm super glad I got the chance to do that. Which, by the way, I gave up coffee for Lent this year and happened to give it up. Like the first day of Lent was while I was in Australia. But next time I go back, it'd be nice to share that time with someone that I genuinely love. Like my future wife, Lord willing. What was I talking about? Anyway, No. Ooh, there was this one experience. Oh, I learned how to drive on the left side of the road with a right-handed steering wheel car thing. It was really weird. It was really cool. To when I drove on what felt like ice. This one I've probably talked about at one point. It's nothing too... Oh, the lesson. Children, gather round. Find out who your friends are. Truly knowing people who might take a bullet for you. Maybe everyone in your life would take a bullet for you. That would be great. I sincerely applaud you not even applaud you, just like I'm happy for you if you have lots of people in your life that want to take a bullet for you. That means, not, oh yeah, I'll take a bullet for you. To take a bullet for someone is, really, it's something you can't really think about because, ouch, that would hurt. It's just a matter of split-second decision. Would you do anything for someone, anything for this person? And that's what God did through his son Jesus, is he loved humanity so much that he sent his son to die for all of humanity, to die for sin, to cover sin, to atone for sin, past, present, and future, once for all, that whosoever would believe that Jesus died and rose 3 days later, that he defeated death and he defeated sin. But you got to accept that. It's a free gift, but to those who would believe it. I would very much hope that you would believe it, because John 3:16 says, "For God so loved the world that he sent his one and only Son, that whosoever believes in him would not perish but have eternal life." It's not hard, guys. It's not. And if you need someone to talk about with it, I urge you to find a local church to talk to someone. Go to my website. My website's still up. You can find my contact page. You can contact me. You just send me a message that says, how do I know Jesus? How do I meet Jesus? Find a church, find a Bible, start reading it. It's God's love letter to humanity. He had you in mind before the foundation of the world because he knew that you would be alive today. So back to when I drove on what felt like ice. This isn't necessarily a proud moment, but this is one of those moments where I genuinely, I'll just be honest. There's times in my life where something's happened and I say, it did not even occur to me to not do that. I was very, 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 you could say, water intoxicated. My sodium and potassium levels in my body were very out of whack, and I had just gotten off of a show where I was mascotting. It was the third day, and the first 2 days I was doing a great job of monitoring and listening to my body, but this third day I got a headache. I was just drinking a lot of water, forgot to drink Gatorade, and I drove home, and it was like an hour drive, and fortunately, by the grace of God, I got through it, but it felt like I was driving on ice. You can't do that. Yeah, of course, you're going to mess up. Sometimes not paying attention could cost your life, and I'm glad it didn't this time. I've had multiple occurrences where I've had another chance. But if now were the end of my life, if this moment right now were the end of my life, I would say that I'm glad that I love Jesus. And looking back on my life, I'd say I didn't make there were times I didn't make some great decisions, but other times I made good decisions. But I'm confident that during both times, God was protecting me, and I'm confident that he loved me at every single moment. Yeah, now, don't be an announcer. Don't be an announcer. How now, don't be an announcer.